Inbreeding is almost everywhere you look in royal families, and is causing them to all drop dead like flies. So how common is inbreeding among royal families? Has it had any long-lasting consequences? And who's the most inbred royal of all time? So let's see how inbred the royal families really are. So, Queen Victoria, the Queen Bee herself, had a pretty unique relationship with her husband, Prince Albert. They weren't just any ordinary couple. No, they were first cousins. Yes, you heard that right. Now, being first cousins meant that Victoria and Albert shared a lot more than just a deep love. They also shared the same genes. And when you mix genes that closely, things can get a little, well, inbred. It's like a royal game of genetic roulette. Their unfortunate offspring bore the brunt of this close kinship. One of their sons, poor Leopold, tragically passed away at a young age due to hemophilia, a genetic disorder that Victoria unknowingly passed down. It's like the royal family's own version of pass the genetic parcel. 5 of her grandchildren, unfortunately, also suffered from the same fate. But hey, let's not judge Queen Victoria too harshly.
And they will listen to you. What?
Nothing. That sounded nice when you said it.
Right now!
Yeah.
Back in the time, they didn't have the same knowledge and awareness about genetic risk that we do today. They were playing the genetic lottery without even knowing it. And there was one great-grandchild of Victoria in particular who had it worse than anyone else. So Alexei was quite the royal descendant. He was the first son of Tsar Nicholas, the last royal ruler of Russia. But it went beyond just that. He was the great-grandson of none other than Queen Victoria herself. He had some serious royal blood flowing through his veins. But as we've already established, being related to Victoria is not the best idea when it comes to genetics. Unfortunately, poor Alexei inherited more than just fancy titles. He also got the not-so-nifty gift called hemophilia. This meant that he had a hard time clotting his blood, and any little cut or injury could turn into a life-threatening situation. Imagine Alexei, bleeding like a faucet, and his worried mother, Serena Alexandra, desperate for a solution. Enter stage left, the enigmatic Rasputin.
Our guest of honor, Father Rasputin.
Grigory Rasputin.
Yep, the very same Rasputin who was known for his mysterious ways and rumored supernatural abilities. The Serena turned to him for help, hoping he could use his magical touch to keep her son alive, despite countless efforts to find a cure. Poor Alexei's life was a constant battle against his condition. But hey, he never gave up. But it's not just older royals that have a knack for inbreeding. Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum is the current ruler of Dubai and one of the highest-ranking members of the Emirati royal family. But what a lot of people don't know about him is that he's also married to his first cousin, Sheikha Hind bint Maktoum. Hind isn't just his first cousin, but also his second cousin. Together, they have 12 children, all of whom are probably inbred in one way or another. Some of his kids include Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed, the Crown Prince of Dubai, and Princess Latifa bin Mohammed, who famously escaped the royal family. Now, the details on whether any of their 12 children have inherited any gene quirks are a bit murky. We don't have the full scope on that one, but here's the thing. When you venture into the land of cousin love, there's always a chance of raising the stakes in the genetic game. But the double relations just don't end there.
Escorted by her father, King Frederick of Denmark, Princess Anne-Marie went to the Metropole Cathedral of Athens for her marriage to King Constantine of Greece.
Constantine and Anne-Marie not only shared a royal title, but also a family tree that's more intertwined than a pair of mismatched headphones. You see, they both have some serious royal blood flowing through their veins, and it all leads back to 2 major players in the royal game: Queen Victoria, and King Christian IX of Denmark. It turns out that Constantine and Anne-Marie can't just claim a distant cousin connection. No. They take it to a whole new level. They're double cousins. They hit the jackpot on the genealogical lottery by being descendants of both Victoria and Christian IX. So while officially they're only third cousins, in reality, they're related in multiple different ways. But hey, who are we to judge? Love knows no boundaries, not even the twists and turns of a family tree. And let's face it, being royalty means your options for a suitable partner might be a bit limited. So Constantine and Anne-Marie decided to embrace their shared heritage and embark on a royal journey together. Speaking of Greek royals, now we all know Queen Elizabeth and her hubby, Prince Philip, once a prince of the Greek royal family, were quite the power couple. But did you know that they were actually third cousins? Yeah, talk about keeping it all in the family. Here's the deal. Both Liz and Phil were descendants of the legendary Queen Victoria, but through different branches. So not only were they related by blood, but they were doubly related. It's like a double scoop of family ties with a sprinkle of regal charm. Now let's zoom in on their offspring. King Charles, the current king, and his siblings, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, and Princess Anne. Well, they've got a touch of that inbreeding too. Thanks to their parents' cousin connection, these royal siblings are all part of the Inbred club. But hey, before we start gasping in shock, it's important to remember that back in the day, royal families often intermarried to keep that blue blood flowing strong. And it was like their version of a family reunion, but with crowns and tiaras. But while Elizabeth's kids didn't show any clear signs of inbreeding, others did. So Queen Maria was no stranger to keeping it in the family. She came from the House of Braganza, a royal lineage known for their love of intermarriage. It's like they had a cousins-only rulebook for finding their life partners. But here's the thing, all that inbreeding can come at a cost. Maria paid the price. She was plagued by mental illness, earning her the nickname Mad Queen. It's like her mind had a few screws loose, and it made her life quite the roller coaster. Her mental instability affected her ability to rule effectively, and let's just say her decision-making skills were not at their peak. It must have been quite the challenge for those trying to run the kingdom with a queen who had a few bolts loose. And while having your parents be cousins is one thing, can you imagine having siblings as your parents? Princess Naihi came from the noble Hawaiian royal family, where intermarriage among relatives was not uncommon. It was like a beach party where everyone was related, and love wasn't afraid to take a few shortcuts. Naihi found herself caught in a tangled web of love and family ties. You see, her grandparents were half-siblings, which made her full brother, Kamehameha III, the object of her affection. The plan was to tie the knot with her dear bro, but alas, the church stepped in and said, "Hold up, this is not okay." With their love thwarted, tragedy struck. At the tender age of 20, Naihi gave birth to a child who sadly didn't survive. The emotional distress took its toll, and eventually, the princess herself would die after being in an unmovable state for days. It makes us wonder if her untimely demise had any connection to the strains of inbreeding. It's like a heartbreaking island saga, with the specter of genetics looming overhead. But the Hawaiian royal family wasn't the only one that was known for inbreeding. So Ferdinand I was born into the Habsburg dynasty, a family tree so tangled it makes a plate of spaghetti look like a straight line. His parents were Emperor Franz II and Marie Therese, who, get this, were double first cousins. It's like a family reunion on steroids. Now, Ferdinand I had his fair share of genetic quirks, a condition called hydrocephaly, which made his head look a lot bigger due to its excess fluid on the old brain box. But wait, there's more. He also inherited the infamous Habsburg jaw and battled epilepsy. Talk about a family package deal. Despite his physical challenge, Ferdinand I managed to sit on the royal throne and rule over a whole bunch of kingdoms: Hungary, Austria, Bohemia, Lombardy, Venetia, you name it, he had a crown for it. Impressive, right? But Ferdinand was far from the most infamously inbred member of the Habsburg dynasty. That title goes to the one and only Charles II was the King of Spain, and he holds the prestigious title of being the most inbred dude in human history. Now, imagine a family tree that's so twisted that it's like a pretzel. Charles II's ancestors took the concept of inbreeding to a whole new level. We're talking uncles marrying nieces, cousins cozying up, and doing it for generation upon generation. The final result of all this inbreeding was Charles II. It wasn't pretty. In fact, Charles II was plagued with a laundry list of health issues, both physical and mental. We're talking about a man who had trouble walking, couldn't chew his food properly, and had this unfortunate habit of drooling like a leaky faucet. Unfortunately for Charles, the generation upon generations of inbreeding also likely left him impotent. He had 2 marriages, but in both of them, he failed to produce a single offspring. And with that, Charles was left without an heir, and the Habsburg dynasty ended upon his death. So, from the UK to the UAE to Spain, royal families have been inbreeding for generations upon generations. Inbreeding has built entire families, and it has also destroyed just as many. So maybe having royal blood running inside your veins might just not be such a luxury after all. What do you think?